Oh. Is it not? Oh, okay, there we go. Oh my gosh. It's been a heck of a month. But I'm finally getting back into it. Gradually. Hopefully, should be the last of the busyness that haunts this very streamer schedule. But anyway, let us get to episode 4. Wow, actually, one case away from beating the first, Great Ace Attorney game. Huh, how time flies. The Adventure of the Clouded Crocodile. Episode 4.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
We fighting Jack the Ripper? 19th of February, 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office.
Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo?
No, not at all.
It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night.
What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Budia, I wasn't gonna waste a single inch of that space. Spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other.
Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare.
Oops. Sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance was so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking.
In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill.
Ugh. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less.
Ugh. London is a scary place. Ah, good morning to you at this early hour. Oh, yes, well...
Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday.
Susaida-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening. Thank you.
And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end.
Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed.
Oh.
No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern island.
Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now.
Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem.
Another case already?
Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure. I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I?
It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it.
What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? The culpability of the defendant has, not at present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to prefer judgment.
Well, Lord Vanzies, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense.
I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent.
Mr. Naruhodo.
It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth, and then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial.
No!
What? Mr. McGilded is dead? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom.
Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of.
Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames.
No. How could such a thing have happened?
That is being investigated as we speak, but already. The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded.
That's awful.
The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere.
That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened?
That is also being investigated as we speak.
Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, I must be making the tracks now. It's time for the inspection.
Sorry, what inspection?
They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I guess I could be present for it myself.
An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage.
But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about?
Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police.
Call Mr. McGilded.
So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old.
Wow, Zada-san has such a way with words.
I do seem to have a way with failing to find the right ones.
The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can.
The most advanced in the world, is it?
It was fortunate. that your very first trial was a simple affair.
Simple? That was simple?
As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple.
The circumstances of the case were so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before.
What's going on? What was he going to say before? Could you perhaps give us more details about the new case you mentioned?
Don't tell me. It's a murder? Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different.
Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind?
That is to say, no one has died. As yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise.
So the trial's tomorrow then. Is everything alright?
Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused. That's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo.
I don't know if I could face standing in the courtroom again after Mr. McGilder's trial. Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense.
Oh.
If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Yes, that's right. Ugh, here we go again. Baron Von Seeks. Fucking Von Seeks. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits.
Last time you mentioned 23 hours, you said there was plenty of time.
And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asurgi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds.
Oh, well, Cosimo's always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. And now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh?
Another thing? Continue.
On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do.
Something very important? And what exactly would that be?
He never had the chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he had made it to the Great Britain.
You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asurgi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell.
There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what do you mean?
I wish I knew, but honestly, you never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think?
Yes, you're right.
I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. What's having chips? He's having fish and chips. Could we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some flippery around the weather doesn't get every English gent eating out of your hand, you know. Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers will be saying, Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that rapping sound? That's my reputation that you are going to tatters. I need to rip us apart as well.
I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryonosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer.
Yeah?
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant,
Oh, yeah?
It's a lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable. How did she pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard.
Gregson? Inspector Gregson?
What's the matter with Susato-san?
Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson?
You're acting like you know this man, Mr. Sato, but he's a London detective.
Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact.
Very well?
Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Rance Magazine?
That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry.
Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words.
That's his highest praise?
Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see.
That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not! There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors?
Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head, stuff like that.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying. But I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work.
Oh dear, perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people.
So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the Odd, it couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated.
I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling that you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement of Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital, unconscious.
That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind?
I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a suicidal takedown, would you?
That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo.
Brace yourself, Renosuke. You angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had the time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question?
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Baron von Zeeks.
No!
So it's like you've heard of him then.
Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord von Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
The Reaper of the Bailey.
Lord Baron von Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilder told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Von Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he had been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned.
The Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it?
Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Von Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
Huh, and what of it?
Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not possible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
He shoved that in his pocket. What happened to the bloke in the end, eh? He's dead.
Ah,
Magnus McGilder came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you?
what? What are you saying?
Look, if Von Zeeks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Are we really supposed to believe that?
Right, well, I filled you in as requested. I'm very nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place.
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself.
You branded him a criminal already?
He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. I'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in the court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage too.
But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine how he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny.
So,
If I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself, and I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try. So I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help?
did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant.
Thank you. So then, shall we?
Yes. Let's go.
Briar Road, we haven't been there. I wonder what awaits us. Or the prison. Let's go to Briar Road first. 19th of February, Briar Road. So this is where they happened. Briar Road.
Aha! Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak.
That is their job, you know.
But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt of ever coming this close. To a real Bobby's helmet.
What? The helmet?
Of course. I have to try one on someday. Try one on one day.
Well, I hope your hatty dreams come true. I don't see Inspector Gregson anywhere. Shall we see if we can sneak past and investigate the scene of the stabbing?
Why should we sneak?
I don't want to upset one of the bobbies to be butted on the head by one of those metal helmets, and be butted by one. My skull would crack in two, I'm sure.
Oh no, an English Bobby would never do such a thing. This is a land of gentlemen, you know? What a delightful snowman.
I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy though.
Oh, it has a scarf, look.
You need one if you were out in this freezing cold all the time. Wish I had one.
I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment too. We certainly can't afford a scarf.
Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his.
But the person who made the snowman certainly would.
Yes, I know, you're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. That's one of the officers from the Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons.
I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. You've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern.
Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what was going on.
Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all.
Ugh. Oh, oops.
Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to the crime scenes and cut away criminals.
You're very well informed, aren't you?
It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London.
Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then.
But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it. Wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone.
No, I wasn't serious. This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred.
Yes, it's a very wide open space, isn't it?
That's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker could have been hiding. Oi! What are you foreigners doing here? Oh, just investigating scene, officer. Conspiring with that mustached fella from Japan, are ya? Conspiring? Don't mean to destroy evidence, have ya? Get out of here before I give you an hiding. Go on.
He shoot us away like rats.
Yes, we should give him a wide berth, I think.
What a disappointing experience. Oh, a British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be written anymore.
Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling.
It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well.
The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that.
Goodness, do you dislike bicycles?
No, not at all. I mean, it's not like I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems... Oh, I skipped on accident. Seems reckless. Have you ever tried walking on the stilts and falling into a river? I know you'll agree with me.
I'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history.
Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than any other houses here.
We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves, as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. No, look at the windows of the building there.
Are you sure they're windows?
Yes, but they're all filled with bricks.
Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment.
There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though.
Oh dear. Everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place.
There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks.
It seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It soon disperses all the snow.
I stepped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. Seems like it would be far safer to walk on the road instead.
Oh, but you're rather small, Naruhodo, and dressed in all black. I worried coachman might not see you, and could be flattened by horses.
Well, thank you for the rather small concern. Clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy.
Well, it is known as the Foggy London Town.
I can just make out some sort of spire through the fog. It looks like it's still being built, though.
Aha, yes, that must be the Crystal Tower, being built for the Great Exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. Apparently it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides, and the symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition.
It's soon to be the largest expedition in history, is it? It's kind of hard. Oh, I pushed space on accident. Oops. Scanning. Okay, we're going to the prison. "19th of February, local prison, cell 9. So these are the British prison cells.
Oh, they're ghastly. It feels like a dungeon.
Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls.
Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse.
Apparently, our client is in this cell here, but it's so dark at the back at the back there. I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding at the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I?
Am I a cat? As yet with no name? Calling me by a number, it's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer.
Oh wait, is it Herlock?
Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here?
I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Wait, who the hell's saying that? Oh. What the fuck voice do I give you? Excuse me, but who? What voice do I give you?
Shh! Quiet. They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it.
Right. So, could I ask you who exactly...
There you are. You come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost.
A ghost?
We mean you no harm, Prisoner-san. Are you Japanese by any chance?
This is... beyond my wildest dreams! Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all.
Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am, a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment!
Who could have guessed that this new client, Lord Strongarm, assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese?
Oh, what compassion my fellow countrymen show to dispatch first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon!
A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here.
I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example?
Yes, I can, I will. Shan't say sullen and silent!
I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy.
Yes, he does. I just hope he has actually a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryonosuke Naruhodo.
And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba.
I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notoriously named Natsume! Soseki Natsume!
Soseki Natsume. Son? What an unusual name.
Call me Sasaki, please. I'm a poet, you see, a writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume.
A nom de plume? You mean an alias?
That's right, Naruhodo-san.
No! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that.
And haiku? And a haiku? That means to... It really reminds me of home.
Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government?
Yes, that's right. A year ago I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this! It's beyond pale! The pale!
Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here?
No! I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course.
Oh.
But just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it. No!
What do you mean?
If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That is my field. But no, he told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable.
I see.
I see.
Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I turned in a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi!
You must be a man of great standing.
Oh yes, so I'm often told.
And often to be told, it seems.
Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Saseki-san?
I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder.
Murder?
Oh, no, it's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife! Right before my eyes!
Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker?
I didn't see anyone.
What?
If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here?
Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated.
Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's a curse! The curse of London! It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient!
So Saseki's son was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker.
It's vital that we find more about the case.
It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I've been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings.
Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too?
As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out a sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was. And just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed into the cold, hard slabs of the stone at my feet.
How terrible.
I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard.
Slight exaggeration there, perhaps.
I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
That's not good.
They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that.
Tell me, Saseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours?
Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm different, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people.
I see. A young woman, unknown to Saseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you?
Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul.
No one? Oh, great.
So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
What conundrum? What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum?
Well, if Saseki-san had just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then, he apparently fled without having been seen.
I did!
But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit.
Ah! You! What did you say?
Nothing! I didn't say anything! Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly.
Actually, that's not was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Saseki-san actually come to be arrested?
Sorry?
He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was in there in the first place?
Oh yes, she's right.
It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me! All the black luck!
Accursed great detective? Could it be?
I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live! With his hearty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Trash! Backhanded! Busybody! Begone! May you be cursed until the end of your days, Sherlock Sholmes!
I knew it!
Mr. Sholmes?
God damn it, Herlock. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure.
It was the morning after the nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a silver hard cheese when some men suddenly burst through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police! Put the weapon down!" Yes, it was thin silver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon! Disgusting! Dietary discrimination! Devils!
You clearly had a trying morning yesterday.
And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That's Sherlock Sholmes?
It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English.
I since found that he's a famous name in detection here in London.
Yes, the great detective is really very well known.
And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts apparently. He thinks I'm a knife-wielding madman! Me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man!
I wonder what great deduction process to led him to this conclusion this time.
Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deductions was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable.
Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in.
Of course you were. That's only natural.
I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me. It's an impossible English. English, foreign, film, primary!
Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English.
Good point, but my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, "Yes, I do," and "I'm fine." The next thing I knew, I was in manacles. And before I knew it, I was thrown here.
Oh?
Oh dear. I'm afraid that's hardly surprising.
I'm fine? He's not fine now. Wait, is he Apollo's... is he Apollo's ancestor? Oh, that's funny. Apollo Justice's ancestor.
Mr. Naruto Esquire!
Oh, you could just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, it's simple. A simple mister is more than enough.
Oh, yes, alright. Yes, they've really got to me. This country's poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you?
Well,
Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me?
Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour.
A student?
I have defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to be leaving. I'm confused of what justice in this country even means.
Oh, Naruhodo-san.
I'm not even a foreign student who's supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose.
But that armband, that's the mark of the defense lawyer from our great empire.
It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend.
A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me.
Oh? What do you mean?
The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me.
Goodness, why? Why do you say that?
For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit.
It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san.
And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man will be a waste of time, they said. And, of course, the foreigner did it. They even had to go to say, the man doesn't even understand half of what's being said anyway.
That's awful.
They're wrong! I've studied more English than the half of the policemen out there in the streets! I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through.
Soseki-san, it's just that. Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can, for the time being.
What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you. Welcome soon, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for.
Back to Briar Road. What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh, Inspector Gregson.
This isn't on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware.
Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
So we've been to the holding cells then. What'd you make of the criminal?
He's not a criminal as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
Huh, we shall see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Ugh, Stone Cold air of rejection.
Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air.
That makes it worse somehow.
Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place.
The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am.
Oh, and you know, I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You can certainly get the sense that this is the man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city.
Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell you.
Oh really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes around and rouses all the laborers on his beat so they can get off to work. What? He wakes people up? Yup, raps on their windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit.
I had no idea.
The Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. Wait, you're British. Why are you using miles? That seems kind of weird. You're supposed to be British. Why are you using miles as a unit of measurement? That's an American thing. I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way.
Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama.
On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting up all the gas street lamps.
Oh my.
And I suppose in between all those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well.
And chase after criminals trying to evade the law.
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
I'd always dreamed of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Your heavy heart will be in my heavy head if you do. It happened at around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago. Just there, on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in the hospital.
I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out that much about her at all.
I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's a map of the local area. I happen to have one on me. You can take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It's your policy to give lawyers defending suspects the odd bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gracefully accept.
Local map. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen.
Actually, can I look at the evidence in more detail?
Okay, that's it. Yeah, it's just over here in Briar Road,
Calabash Road, and Mershon Street.
So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming to not have seen anyone else around, but just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can't be sure that nobody else was present.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, Mom, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
What?
We have two very reliable witnesses, no less. It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them. They're witnesses now.
Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife. And the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing peculiar about that, Mom. Part of and parcel of being a bobby, catching them banging the act and all that.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow.
Oh.
I have no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to.
Then that's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. A policeman witnessed the incident.
What the hell? Oh my god, another bot. Oh my god. Alright. There we go. Got rid of that.
As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed.
Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector. What? The person who led you to the suspect. I hear that he was Mr. Herlock Sholmes. What are you bringing him up for?
This is something I said? The color had just drained from his cheeks.
Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they ever entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle faddle! The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere.
Oh.
I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case.
Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gobble!
That!
Ever seen this before?
Oh, yes, that's Rance Magazine. The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Herlock Sholmes appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it. sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Herlock Sholmes tale at all.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be affronted by the public as that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
Clearly the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not? Well, makes no difference to me, but I would just say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole.
Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange though.
Sorry?
The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals. The violent ones.
Master criminals? The violent ones?
That's right. He handpicks his victims. Only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely.
That's just my point, sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but he didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this is sort of the case I'm expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell you what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we really gonna have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he puts it. Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information on the detective. Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh, yes. What is it?
Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this.
By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, exactly.
Look at those shiny eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you going to just ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again.
The trouble is, you have no idea of the man's address even.
It's Baker Street.
How do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course. 221 B. Baker Street, the most famous address in the world.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try to find a way there before Susada-san gets any more excited and unpredictable.
Hoorah! I summon a carriage!
So we are to have a reunion already. With the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ooh, cutscene.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks again.
This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
19th of February, 12:53 p.m. Sholmes' suite.
So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow.
Is it as described in the stories, Mr. Sato? Sato-san?
Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room.
Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be.
The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog dawn down at the unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, I suppose I can, yes.
So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me.
She's obsessed. Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home?
Oh, do we have a visitor? Oh, it's her.
Hello? Is it a big new case of Mr. Sholmes?
Hello? Wait, aren't you...
Oh, how rude of me. I'll go make some tea at once.
I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Sato, did you see the girl who was just here?
Oh, yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case.
The King of Bohemia?
King Wilhelm Grossreich, Sigismund von Ordenstein, of course.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment, and look over there!
The tea's brewed, and I have freshly baked cake as well.
Ah, it's you.
I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too.
Ah, there you are. And taking with that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilder's trial in the defense's antechamber.
I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you. How did you get so straight to work when you've only just arrived in London?
Oh, yes, it was... challenging.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know.
Oh, thank you? Is this tea supposed to look that color?
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor.
Hooray, it's a winner! I try blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're here to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck.
Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance?
Oh, you know Hurley, do you?
Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely.
Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see.
Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after this trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think?
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite?
Oh, silly me! I haven't introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Hurley.
Iris, is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait, this can't be. Did you say your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she flustered all of a sudden?
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susaru Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it.
Susie?
And Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her. I don't know where to start.
Yes. And so do I.
It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey.
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Oh no, not at all. I'm sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us.
Like this?
Ah, thinking back now. You left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you?
Oh yes, that awkward witness. Gina Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny. Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that child-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
This girl is dangerous.
Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after all that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, you're a technician?
Hurley, of course, silly.
Hurley?
Yes, Herlock. Herlock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea the great detective has such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if it wasn't my father, would I?
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes?
She's just a dainty girl. She's just a dainty woman.
And I expect you found that the lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
Your roommates?
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you?
10 at last this year.
Wait, what? Oh, so she is a child, okay. Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh no, they're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there. What the story is there.
Oh yes, there's something I must ask you.
Of course, go ahead, Susie.
I'm a very great fan of the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes and...
Oh, you have a copy of the Lines magazine?
Yes, I've read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship.
Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world.
My stories? She wrote them?
That's right. Hurley's always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me about them. Maybe they are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them. Don't you think?
Goodness.
Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came.
So you are the author?
Yes, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure The Speckled Band.
The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar.
Of course, I always change one or the two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course I know that snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but... it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think. Don't you?
So, do you mean to say... are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rand's magazine...
all written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter.
But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson.
Sounds getting more and more worked up.
Ah, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the doctor of medicine part? That's all true too. I'm a doctor of medicine.
No, at 10 years old?
At 10 years old.
Well, that's incredible. That's quite incredible.
But Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Oh. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow?
Yeah, she's not wrong.
I suppose it does, yes.
Poor Susanna-san. She looks like her whole world just fallen apart. About before.
Yes? What's on your mind, Runo? Do tell me.
How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean?
Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Oh.
First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Runo. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But you also said that we only just arrived in London. How did you know that?
I observed the passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh.
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted the case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
The Reaper of the Bailey? I walked right into that one, didn't I?
And then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with the suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Ah.
A suspended account? Oops. Oh, you mean the one I just banned? Because it was showing a link or something, a suspicious link, so I had to immediately ban it because it was probably just another bot with a spam link. Yeah.
They use all those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realize. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGinley, the two of you had already cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see.
But how could you have known the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home for a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It's obviously amused him. He told me that he caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
A Japanese man? Well, that clearly must have been
Mr. Natsume. Now, Runo has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourself. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley's always stabbing his nose with a knife, you know. He is silly. And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions. Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed to ascertain something of Mr. Sholm's delivery.
Oh well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This is really good news. This is very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please?
The case of the Japanese man.
So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended the Japanese man, you were saying.
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage, but the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, the great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stupid man running away from the scene.
A short, shifty-looking, stupid man. Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Soseki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all.
Hurley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. There was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police. And what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stupid man shivering in fear.
Ugh. Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife for crime.
Oh.
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it apparently.
Oh dear. I didn't realize the situation was so dire.
That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying criminals in court. Staff and money are both short, and crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person.
That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of workings of the world's greatest justice system. I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Soseki-san. Hold on, be right back. I'm just getting a glass of water. Alright, I'm back. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As a guest, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Ah, well, I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene.
Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Nuts. Oh, May? Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there.
Iris, do you know where those lodgings are?
Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody. In that case, give Grexy this for me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this? A 5-shilling piece on a postcard, it seems.
A postcard? Okay.
It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, this won't make the inspector help us with it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. I'll be making the more special blends at tea, so come back again soon.
We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime.
So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note, and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued. Oops. There we go. Yeah, we still got time to move forward. 19th of February, 2:38 p.m. Briar Road. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation.
Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible.
Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip that Iris gave us for him. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk with a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? For her ladyship? Her ladyship? Give it here, at once! Come on, hand it over! That's for me! Ah! Don't wait for me to give it to you. Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? Will you? What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's, well, it's an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see, you mean...
That's right, for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me every time.
Yes, of course. I know about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what you want to know then, eh? Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go away, fire away, what you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, the little knife-wielding mustache Japanese fellow. He lives right in the right old hovel. Just over there. It's just over there, look. Oh, that place. On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's popped up.
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is Mr. John Garadek. Right, well, if you see her again, you'll make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it, you tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector. We will.
Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship.
Huh. Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left.
Yes. So then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely.
"19th of February, Mr. Natsume's lodgings."
I help you?
Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb?
Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling?
My name is Ryonosuke Naruhodo.
Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client.
She smiled for a moment.
1 moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb.
Did you see that, Mrs. Sato? That was a real-life English maid.
I know. As I understand it, anyone standing in the English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better.
It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it?
We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete.
Well, I'm not sure if I'll go that far, but I understand the sentiment.
Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garadeb will see you now. This way.
Good day to you. John Garadeb at your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryonosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back at the Battle of Maiwand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Headed over the range to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier.
It's a hell of a job getting up and down the stairs now. I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine.
Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo.
Do you think so?
Well, Mr. Garadeb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joanne? Let these good people see it properly. Joanne, fetch the— Ah! Dash it all, woman! Be careful!
Oh, dear me. I do beg your pardon, sir.
Huh, you jolly nearly took me skin off my hands.
I shall be more careful, sir.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yes, I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs. Is that right?
Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only 2, please, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the peace in here in Blighty. We forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
Even had some famous detective poking around, you know, in this old house. Would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Huh. Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea. All that detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Rance Magazine here, so...
No, Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak.
So he's in Soseki-san's room.
It's a bally nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garadeb. Please do tell us.
Ah yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week.
Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then.
I have 2 lodgers most of the time. One on the ground floor, and one just below us. The first floor became available a week ago, and you see there's been— Ah! Dash it all, Joanne! Do be careful!
Oh, my goodness. I'm very terribly sorry, sir.
if you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him.
Oh? Why?
He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joanne, that man is trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything.
Well, we can't dismiss as a witness, that's for sure. But I have a feeling that we have no choice.
Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Oh, yes, indeed there was.
And she's dying to tell us.
The Shady Lodger.
Had you noticed anything else about your lodger, Mr. Nuts? Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume?
Oh my word, yes, the man was shadier than an orchid.
Could you elaborate?
Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. Haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every day, every single day, and comes at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is longer past the time everyone else the house has gone to bed too.
Oh, I see.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed around 9 each night. But I never knew that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Ah.
Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray?
How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine?
Oh!
I understood that neither of the lodgers on this floor of the house. Is that correct?
That's right, yes, they're below us. They're both below us on the first floor and street level.
Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed.
Ah! Good grief, Joanne! Be more careful, woman!
Oh my goodness, sir! I'm terribly sorry, sir!
Something doesn't add up here. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time?
The window?
Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over to Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the Geradeb household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joanne?
No, sir, it would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with that fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as?
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well...
Yes? Was there something then?
Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but at around that sort of time here... Ah! For the love of God, Joanne, what were you doing?
Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman!
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Naruholo.
Yes?
I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, really? Mr. Geradeb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been.
Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of... Ah! Joanne, dash it all, what's the matter with you, woman?
Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened.
She's getting him to shut up.
Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quite uneventful meal. Joanne?
That's right, Mr. Geradeb.
What is the matter with these two?
It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what?
I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on?
Why, certainly. Just below us on the first floor.
And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak?
Yes. Told me Nats, his name, had asked him to look into the matter. So I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' service?
That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean.
Huh. Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs.
I can also find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we?
Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
Alright.
Oh, a little kitty cat.
19th of February, Mr. Natsume's room.
What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the amount of old books that are responsible for that.
I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all of my life.
No, me neither.
It's so dark in here, too.
Is that the window over there?
Is that the window over there?
Well, it was the window, I think, yes. Once upon a time. But for some reason it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives.
By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you?
No, that's true. But according to what Mr. Garadev told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Well, let's just investigate ourselves.
Kitty cat.
Oh?
Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away.
I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Mike, was it? Do we even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain?
Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan.
That made me feel homesick now.
Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. That desk seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountains of books on either side.
I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit here and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well.
Yes, he must have done... mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from the second-hand bookshop. Your books.
Oh, yes. Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look, and the date of the purchase. Ah, 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident.
That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books.
Ah. Alright. Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reached the ceiling.
They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty.
With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you?
No. What a dreamy idea.
A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the books that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again.
Ah, so reading it as an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us.
I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy.
Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home.
It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneko Neko all the way from Japan with him.
How to think you're in the position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo? Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage?
Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm.
Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is surely to beckon good luck to him.
It's not doing a very good job so far, is it?
You mustn't say such things.
I didn't say a word!
Why are my eyes such a giveaway?
Okay. Could you even call this a window?
I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although, all that remains is a frame around some bricks now.
So really it's just a wall then, isn't it? But why would anyone deliberately brick up like that?
I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design on a flimsy... in a fit of whimsy.
Ugh, that's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive.
It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying.
Oops, I did not mean to do that. I meant to click on the bloody arrow. There we go. And there he is.
Ah! Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
He's just reading his books. Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from?
He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope you won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes?
Ah, you two, good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Budia.
Ah, yes, of course, the Budia. And let me see, what happened on that voyage?
It was Kazuma Sogi. He died, tragically, but you were a great help to us.
Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Sogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it?
Oh,
Well, you seem to remember something of it at least.
what an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Sherlock Holmes. This is Mr.
Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded within my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo. And Mr. Susato.
Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes.
I lose the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved it in a matter of no more than 30 minutes.
So they apprehended Soseki-san in that short of amount of time?
I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvement a little.
A little?
It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls I can distend to at any extent. I do my best to forget the useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom. You know, from the adventure A Study in Scarlet.
Please, there's no need to quote yourself.
I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully.
It must be Iris, I suppose.
Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned.
Goodness, what an earnest expression! My dear madam, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case.
We know this room to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road.
Natsume. Yes, I believe it was the name of it was a name rather along those lines.
But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Mr. Sato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean.
What? I can't believe he was looking Sato-san squarely in the eyes while feigning ignorance.
I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair you are under some misapprehension.
Oh? How?
I assure you that I have no recollection of accusing your stupid compatriot of the crime.
But that doesn't make sense.
The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene.
Ah, a man seen fleeing.
There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was able to quickly determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe this is a receipt around here. There is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question.
So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then?
That I could not tell you, but it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in its bibliophily. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no.
Oh dear.
Tell me, have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings?
Yes, Mr. Garadev, a retired military man.
It was the first time I ever met a soldier from a great British institution, that is, the services.
And it was the first time I ever met a maid from the great British institution, that is, service. I didn't think it was that funny.
I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid.
Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer.
And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein.
Betoken their social standing? Sorry?
Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family.
Goodness, how extraordinary.
As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle class and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance.
I had no idea.
And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs, specifically in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadev.
Oh?
Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain.
I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say.
This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later.
Mr. Natsume stabbed no one.
But sooner or later, as I said.
I don't believe that's the issue here.
About this dark room, this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea?
No window?
Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there's a window of sorts. But it's being completely blocked with bricks.
I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax.
Window tax. What is that?
Surely not a tax on windows?
Precisely that.
Oh my goodness.
Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means have inherited a sizable and costly family home, perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. But the rich open windows here, there and everywhere. in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So 40 years ago or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example.
I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps.
It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price.
Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently Mr. Natsume only moved here about 1 week ago.
Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation.
Oh?
Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter of not worthy of further attention.
Are you sure? I'm curious now.
Well, I believe I told you all I can now.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law?
You remember that, did you?
Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it?
I'm not sure.
Not sure? On what grounds?
Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday.
Really? Well then I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly too.
The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence?
Yes, trust.
Mr. Sholmes? Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he?
My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea.
Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Did you come back to investigate?
Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them.
Oh, I see.
Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing.
Oh? What is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us.
I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something.
Mr. Garadeb is. Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually. Didn't he?
Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case.
Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help us establish Mr. Natsume's innocence.
No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garadeb's secret.
Just remember, I cannot be sure whether this landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo.
A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. "19th of February, Mr. Garadeb's room."
Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there?
Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
Ah, yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid.
Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there.
Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joanne. Now then, why don't you tell me... For the empty time, woman, will you watch what you're bally well doing?
I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir.
Huh? Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you will be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course.
We are deeply grateful for all your assistance.
Not at all, not at all. Don't get much of a chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you would see yourselves out.
According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Gardev is hiding something, and since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. That's a full-size cannon! What's it doing in here?
Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica.
That old thing? That's little more than a toy.
Sorry?
The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon around about the house.
Really? It isn't overkill?
Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is gonna throw at you next, boy.
Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Gardev?
Always is. Take Joanne here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Tries them over the barrel, you'll see. They dry well on the cannon there, Joanne tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel.
It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Gardev. Do you enjoy reading?
Ever experience a London winter, boy? The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book.
Oh, there's a copy of Rand's magazine here, I see. But Mr. Gardev enjoys the adventures of Sherlock Holmes too.
The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem.
Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely.
Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder?
I'm going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek.
Maybe let's not, Mrs. Sato. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. That portrait of Mr. Gardev is glaring at me, I swear.
Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Gardev as well?
Yes, and therefore seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well.
Ah, yes. Seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket.
Seem to come back? What do you mean?
The chap who runs the place is a bally wizard. Went to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need.
A lion ornament. Certainly does seem surplus to requirements.
Zada doesn't pull for punches. Or throws, for that matter. Are those mortar shells? They're enormous.
Ah, I hadn't noticed. What are they doing here?
Ah, those old things? Couple of little rounds I accidentally fired into the barracks during training, you know. Became a bit of a colorful regiment folklore, that incident.
You mean you deliberately hunted out the spent shells?
Well, I wouldn't say deliberately exactly. They're only scrap iron after all. Usually just thrown away, I believe. But you never know when these things might come in useful, do you?
Useful for what exactly?
Yes, well... Joanne here did manage to knock one of the bally things on my foot the other day when she was dusting.
Oh no.
Hadn't shed a tear since 1869 before then, you know.
Maybe we consider throwing them away? That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it?
It's clearly been well looked after, though.
That old thing? Not much better than rags, really.
Oh?
Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past, me. Would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it?
Oh,
I see.
perhaps we should leave the past in the past. Oops.
Oh, look! What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up. Looks more like someone half demolished them to me.
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garadep's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea.
That sounds delightful.
Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally, and it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garadep doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joanne, you shall have to tidy up.
How magnanimous of you. Hold on, let me... Oh, god damn it. No, don't do that. Okay. What the fuck is he doing there? Oh, first. Look at this crockery display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful?
Although the shells seem to be broken, and the crockery is...
And the crockery... Oh, and the shell... Although the shells seem to be broken, and the crockery is... Oh dear, it's in pieces.
It really is. What cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice.
Ah, I wonder. Perhaps the cannon was fired at it.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. But let's not delve too deeply here. Hello, detective. Ah, what's he doing over there?
Mr. Sholmes? Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows.
Good gracious, when did you sneak in here?
Herlock Sholmes, sir, at your service.
Whatever you were doing over by the window.
I'm given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks the aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of the space by the window up here.
Huh. Well,
Keep an eye on to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering.
Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh? Me?
I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective. Great mind.
Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon.
Do you mean Mr. Sholmes?
There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo.
I think so.
There is just enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark.
Here we go. Great deduction time, baby.
Mr. Garadep, though it would seem that you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are 2 conclusions I have been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements.
I beg your pardon?
The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care.
Eh?
And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you.
Mr. Naruhodo, look.
Young man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on.
How? How could you possibly...
How could I possibly know? You mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts.
Ah!
And I know only too well that the wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Here we go.
The great deduction.
The game is afoot.
Topic 1.
Nature of the beast.
It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with military breeding, your eyes are as uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Galadev, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that had run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best, a fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts.
What is this piffle, I ask you?
In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you try to keep in this very house.
What?
He has a slap mark on his face.
Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of our wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me that with one glance in your direction, it is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Oh! Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Galadev. At Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe.
I most certainly did not.
I believe I've made my point.
Ah, yes, classic Herlock.
The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire.
Conclusion. A rampaging Asiatic lion. Topic 2. Aftermath.
Now, Mr. Galadev, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast.
Oh yeah, he's holding on to the slap mark.
Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. The amid of fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is so clearly visible in your visage.
Nonsense, man. I simply...
But what, we must ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Oh! For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go.
Yes, well,
Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last, unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. The very expensive woodland carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh dear me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who have inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only to look at the Tower of Cakes.
Oh my god.
There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact.
Whatever do you mean?
Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not to spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There is only one logical conclusion. Walked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India.
Conclusion. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion.
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle.
Yeah. Time to fix those deductions. The way he looks.
Ah! What is the matter with you, Joanne? Your point's calling out tea all over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garradeb. I'm afraid I didn't notice.
My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too.
Oh,
Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation?
Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? Again?
Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside of a room of this size?
Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense.
But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well?
but if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garradeb and his maid would have been hurt. Or worse.
Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon.
I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus.
And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea.
Ah, my dear Miss Sato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly inappropriate taste for afternoon tea.
Oh my god.
Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again.
I had a feeling this was coming.
A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it.
Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward. Mr. Naruhodo.
We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe.
Let us start again. From the beginning of Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Here we go.
Course correction.
Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Here we go, topic 1.
It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast had been on the rampage of the late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garradeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by the lion statue.
It's not. I really didn't see that lion thing coming.
No, but if you observe Mr. Garradeb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room.
Yes, something with a very fierce nature. I'm guessing it's the maid.
But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India.
So what was it then?
We must follow Mr. Garradeb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer.
What really caused damage to the room? Oh, what do we got here? Ooh. Oh, the maid's his wife. What is this photograph?
It appears to be from Mr. Garadib's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he?
He does, but you can't make out his bride.
No, unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face.
I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. Hold on, let me,
The glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all.
But no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form.
I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not something you want to upset, that's for sure.
Oh, look! Have you noticed the wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it?
Yes, that's an unusual design.
It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower.
What really caused the damage in the room?
Take that!
Newlywed bride. Yep. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newly bred bride. Not wife. Actually, I almost said wide. That would be pretty funny.
Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this frame print pictures of your wife. Pictures your wife, Mr. Garadib. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured,
We can still make out her mighty arms, and note the considerable horsepower they must contain.
Oh,
indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast.
Honored might be stretching a point.
Too late. The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Galadib.
ah!
The chilling traces of wild rampage are still very much in evidence.
Well,
Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam?
me?
I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me that with one glance in your direction,
It is?
your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts.
The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself.
Well, I don't know about fragile.
Oh, dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of Mrs. Garadib anywhere.
But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garadib's wife could be. I'm guessing we have to look at her hand. There it is, baby! I like it how I just... I like how I just imagine myself just lying on the floor looking up to see the ring. She's wearing a very large ring, look.
Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. And it's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means... it's surely a wedding ring.
It looks like it's on there for life too. I can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size.
That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Do you know, Mr. Garadib's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well.
Really? You have a great memory for these things. A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it?
Take that!
Yeah, she's the wife. She's just pretending to be a maid.
Your
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts.
Oh! Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garadib's bride, not bribe, in this photographic print.
In other words, you're no ordinary household maid.
No. You are Mr. Garadib's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garadib herself.
Oh my word!
Got him.
Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is the wife, yes. My Joanne. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a belly corker. Ah!
It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in business of renting out rooms.
Sure.
I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct?
It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ.
Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly.
You mean Mr. Garrett has his wife work as his maid?
Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garadeb?
Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. The raging wife of Mr. Garadeb. Solved.
Here we go, topic 2.
Now, Mr. Garadeb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders. The pain you're feeling is being revealed by that supporting arm.
Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garadeb's wife a beast.
Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable.
But Mrs. Garadeb is sitting beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he?
Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be popping up his head has some other significance then.
According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garadeb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? I saw the slap mark on his face. Oh my, look at that bright red mark.
Gosh, that's quite something. And clearly made by somebody's hand.
Yes, Mr. Garadeb has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard.
I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing?
Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I say.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders. That pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek.
And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade. Was you, Madame Joanne Garadeb?
Well, yes.
You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir.
Ah! How the blazes? How did you work that out, man?
Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow.
That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view.
Well,
Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subject to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garadeb to fly into a rage. And we need only to follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer.
Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder?
Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garadeb's wife.
Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing.
Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard it left a perfect hand mark, in fact.
Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder?
I'll have to know the answer to that question. Oh, what's over here?
Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here to look. Mr. Garadeb is clearly an avid reader.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh, she thinks he's cheating on her.
Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note, written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Maddie.
And look, next to the signature here.
Lip marks, made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture.
Don't get any ideas, Lusada-san.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
So this bookmark is actually a love note then. Oh, and there's a broken plate, but I'm guessing it's probably this.
Take that!
Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer.
Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here.
Ow! But I don't know the Mally woman.
You don't know her?
That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there.
Oh yeah, it's from the second-hand store.
It was just in there, you say.
That's right, that's what I've been trying to... Ah!
A likely story.
Now listen here, Joanne, old thing. I explained it at the time. I bought the book at the second-hand place, and that note must have already been in there.
So, the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean?
That's right, that's what I've been trying to... Ah!
A likely story.
For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's Renta James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is Are
A likely story.
you questioning my name now?
And there we have it. Arouse their suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite.
Wait, is that Mr. Oh yeah.
Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last, unimaginable attack.
Unimaginable.
The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, dearie me.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who have inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the very answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only to look at the Tower of Cake.
But surely Mr. Garadeb didn't eat the carpet? No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray and that this room is in the result of her wild temper.
No, that's true. So, this is the last part of Mr. Shom's seduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mrs. Garadeb's gaze. That will tell us the real answer.
Alright, let's see what we can see.
Yes.
I'm guessing it's the candle. Oops. The carpet has been ripped to shreds.
Yes, and according to Mr. Shom's deduction, the tears match those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly.
Oh, look here.
What is it?
If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks.
Oh yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all.
Let's rethink with that in mind. The candle. No, I already... Oh, god damn it. Yeah, so I'm trying to get the bloody candle. Okay. How do I... It's not showing me. Oh, it wants me to point here.
This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it?
The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. It looks to me that even the slightest knock would make it topple over.
Oh dear, that would be dangerous.
Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing.
Yes, I didn't notice that before.
Why is that, I wonder? Why is one of the 3 candles missing from its holder? And now is the time. Swatch mouse. I think it's just the candlestick, I guess.
Take that!
Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need to only to look at the candlestick.
Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth.
Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed,
Indeed they are. The scorch marks are at the edge are clearly give the truth away.
Scorch marks?
It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Garadev's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused this candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room in flames.
Yes,
For the most ferocious beast in the world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire.
and in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok.
Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here.
After the sparks of the marital discord flew,
This room was the scene of a fire.
oh, he's standing up now.
Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you!
Oh, did she? Oh, yeah, I was about to say, are you gonna catch him? Oh, okay, she did.
Carpet scorched by a small fire. Solved. Deduction complete.
Elementary.
It's these dash long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there.
And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material.
For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems.
Don't know about admonish. Demolish might be a rather close to the mark. And beast is most certainly an
Here we go again. And the carpet? Was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell to the floor?
Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames.
You've painted a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining.
That's sympathy. That's sympathy for you.
Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being.
Over here, Mr. Garadev.
I have nothing more to hide now, if you allow me.
Oh, shit.
Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke.
Gosh.
Then the wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There was I, backed up against the window, under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride.
The Lion's Pride. Ah, yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again.
I assure you the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest.
So So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage.
Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again.
It can only be described as a great British wonder.
I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere and the old stick in full fettle.
Out of interest, what time of day was that?
Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see. Around 5 o'clock, I think.
So at exactly the same time, as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below.
Huh. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment. And I wouldn't have noticed a dash thing.
Oh, really?
Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo? What can I do for you?
Well, I think we got to the bottom of Mr. Garrideb's situation now, but what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances?
I can't help you there, I'm afraid.
What?
My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not.
I just knew you were gonna say that.
Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not.
That makes no sense to me.
Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now.
Sorry?
Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over.
Oh no, is it that time already?
If we were to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to.
So that's it. No more time to think.
Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrideb.
Oh yes. I'm so sorry.
Thank you both very much for your time.
Soseki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer.
"19th of February, Briar Road."
It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison.
Yes, I know. Let's hail a car- Oh.
What's the matter?
It looks like something's going on over there in the front of the Garrideb's house. What the fuck?
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
Who are you calling an old man, you rum-looking nimmy-pig?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Who's the Horatio fella, eh? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
Eh? What the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate, Mr. Narunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
Eh? Lawyer? What?
If I can be of any assistance, I'll be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law.
Tch. Fine, I'll be on my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
Get thee to a nunnery.
Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you?
I do hope you're not injured.
O fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you.
What was that all about?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt in your philosophy.
I'm not Horatio either.
Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here, in the Garrideb residence?
O fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode.
Mr. Garrett mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemist. In my battle of words, near could there be. Sorry, battle, did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see.
I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least.
Oh, fair maiden, so good gentlemen. I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well.
I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room.
It seems he's unaware of what's happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Garrett house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage.
Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return.
Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. "19th of February, 6:31 p.m. Local prison, Cell 9.
Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Locum student from Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so sorry. I'm so touched. Not sorry.
Yeah, sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, no. Think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing, nibbities!
Oh, now let's not get carried away. Is that Von Zieks?
Oh, I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand...
Oh wait, no, that's Sholmes.
It is through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least.
It's you! The miserable rotted spy! Herlock Sholmes!
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here?
I have no intention of doing anything per se. Save observing, of course.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how divested our friend is faring. Our divested friend is faring.
Gloomful room?
At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight, and cost me not a penny.
You? How dare you? Herlock Sholmes! I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My own life is be damned!
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth.
And there is much truth in Mr. Moustache's words.
What?
Curse is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial.
What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed?
Oh no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, I see. That's really agitated him.
You know what I mean? The trial really is cursed somehow.
Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper or Bailey?
The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please, help me! Summarize it succinctly in 60 salient words!
No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever.
Oh my god, this can't really be true! That's 60 words exactly!
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper, but then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances.
Mr. McGill did.
What?
Ah, I am impressed, Mr. Sato. You have an eye for detail.
Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us.
Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accursed convicted, Lord Von Seas killed the man himself?
Oh no, we couldn't have, surely.
You have some wonderful notions.
Sorry?
The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow.
Oh, yes. Why, of course he is.
Ah, of course he is then! Why are you trying to scare me?
It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis.
What on earth do you mean by that?
Francis is quite an exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception.
Ah, that's good.
Just like his son looks like he's gonna cry tears of joy.
As you are no doubt aware, in British criminal trial, there is both a judge and jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated.
Right.
Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means they're at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling impostors as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail.
But it means the wrong verdict can be passed.
And sadly, is from time to time, my dear madam, it is the reality of the situation.
And that's alright.
However, those indicted by the Lord Von Seas cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed.
Oh my.
Though the education may see them leave the court with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking.
Disappear? But how?
Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under the passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by a highwayman.
Oh, no.
All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo.
I knew it. I'm dead! Dodo! Done for! Doomed!
When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garadeb's house, I assume. Do you mean to say that you believe the place is cursed?
It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself.
That didn't take long then.
Everywhere I looked were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn to dusk. So I shut myself away in my room. But even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away.
So you must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now.
Yes. Why did you choose there? Seems a little inconvenient.
The rent is cheap, so I have so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops! He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. But if not, don't mention it in the first place."
Yes, well said.
But it was true. It was all true.
You mean the room really is cursed then?
Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I've been choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find his or her heart to believe in me? Really no one at all?
To believe. Yes, to believe. Mr. Sholmes?
Me, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what can I do for you?
It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall.
The Buria. That case. The one with the snake?
Well, yes. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and I listened to my side of the story, and you helped us to investigate.
I did I? Interesting.
What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe in me?
I see, yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow with a victim in a locked room?
Well, if you like, yes.
I'm a little surprised the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it.
But I could have been lying.
Surely you must have had your doubts.
Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little.
I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me.
What?
You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in.
What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned.
But I could have betrayed your trust.
In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment. Nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion.
Meaning?
Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself.
Yes, he's right. He's right! Welcome, student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Whether or not I believe in myself.
A defense lawyer is only good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself.
You were so right, Kazuma.
Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me?
Oh dear, there's never enough time, is there?
Mr. Natsume, if you would like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you.
Hi, welcome, student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
As I said, I only experienced the British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial.
Something crucial?
What to believe in, the defendant, justice, or the truth. How to believe even. But I think I finally worked it out. I decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts.
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime, and it's imperative that we prove that in court.
Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire.
I'll fight for your innocence until the bitter end with every weapon available to me, so I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow.
As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue.
Of course, Mr. Natsume.
It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it.
Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Mr. Sato,
Yes?
would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court?
Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant.
The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time for me to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me too. And now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. So Seki-san is no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength that I can muster. Alright. And save. And I believe we'll end it here. Farewell for now. And yeah, surprisingly, I think we got pretty far in the game. We're already at the 4th case in the first Greatest Attorney game, so damn, we're almost near the end of the game. Well, the first game, not the second game. We're still far away from. We're still a bit away from that, but yeah, farewell for now.